The most dangerous man in any room is not the loudest one, not the angriest, not the most aggressive. It is the man people hesitate to provoke, the man who does nothing, yet somehow everyone knows. There is a line they should never cross, and somewhere along the way, you forgot how to become that man. You were taught to be agreeable, to be polite, to be easy to deal with. You learned to smooth conflicts, avoid tension, and never make others uncomfortable, because that was called maturity. But there was a cost no one warned you about. While you were learning how to be nice, the world was learning how to use you, because harmless people are easy to manage, easy to pressure, easy to replace, and worst of all, easy to ignore. 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli understood something brutal, something honest. A man who cannot be dangerous is not peaceful. He is merely harmless. And the harmless are never respected. They are managed. This world does not fear good intentions. It fears capacity, the quiet possibility that you could push back, that you could walk away, that you could become unmanageable. That is danger, not violence, not cruelty, but power under control. The modern world calls this dangerous. But the truth is simpler. You were not born soft. You were trained to become harmless. Tonight, we begin reversing that training. Slowly, quietly, deliberately. It didn't happen suddenly. No one announced it. No one gathered humanity into a room and said, "Today we make you harmless." It happened slowly, through lessons that sounded virtuous. Share, be polite, don't cause trouble. And little by little, your edge disappeared. You were taught that conflict is bad, that disagreement is toxic, that making others uncomfortable means something is wrong with you. So, you learned the safest strategy. Comply, adapt, smile, and never push back. But here is the question no one asks. Who benefits from your softness? Who profits from your compliance? Not you. It benefits those who control systems, those who sell authority, those who need people who never resist. A harmless population is easy to manage, easy to govern, easy to manipulate, because harmless people avoid confrontation. They tolerate disrespect. They trade dignity for approval. And slowly, they forget they ever had power. Dangerous people are inconvenient. They ask questions. They refuse manipulation. They walk away from bad deals. They cannot be bullied into obedience. And systems do not like people they cannot control. So let me ask you something. Deep down, have you felt it? That quiet voice inside you, the one that whispers, "I've been too accommodating. I've been too polite. I've been too easy to control." If that voice exists inside you, write one word in the comments. Awake. Not for me. For yourself. Most people think being dangerous means violence, anger, aggression, noise. But that is not danger. That is insecurity begging to be noticed. Real danger is something else. Something quieter. Something far more unsettling. Violence is loud. Danger is silent. Violence reacts. Danger waits. Violence needs to prove something. Danger already knows. The truly dangerous person does not seek conflict. He does not chase dominance. He does not perform power. He simply carries it. And because he carries it, people feel it before he says a word. Have you ever met someone like that? They don't shout. They don't threaten. They don't dominate the conversation. But the moment they enter the room, something changes. The air becomes heavier, and everyone suddenly becomes careful, because the most peaceful man in the room is not the man who cannot fight. It is the man who could devastate you and chooses not to. That choice changes everything. Peace without power is submission. Peace with power is control. Inside you, there is something ancient, something your childhood was taught to suppress. Your intensity, your refusal, your ability to draw a line and mean it. That part of you is not evil. It is simply power waiting to be acknowledged. Most people believe their personality is fixed, that who they are is simply who they are. But that is not true. Much of what you call your personality is conditioning, layers of training placed on you since childhood. And the most powerful layer was this: do not be too much. When you were young, you had fire. You demanded. You shouted. You pushed against limits. But the world does not reward raw energy. So it began to reshape you. Be quieter. Be nicer. Be easier. Your ambition became arrogance. Your intensity became aggression. Your boundaries became selfishness. And slowly, you learned something dangerous. You learned to suppress yourself. But here is the paradox. The power you buried never disappeared. It waited inside you, quiet, paced, like a king exiled from his throne. And the moment you acknowledge it, everything begins to change, because the world does not fear kindness. It fears certainty. It fears a person who cannot be manipulated, a person who does not chase approval, a person who is willing to walk alone. Most people will never hear this, because this idea is uncomfortable. But if this perspective made something clearer for you tonight, let it travel. Pass it forward. Someone else out there is still trapped inside that invisible cage. There is something cruel about becoming harmless. It doesn't happen all at once. There is no dramatic collapse. No single moment where everything breaks. Instead, it happens slowly, quietly, one compromise at a time. You should have spoken, but you stayed silent. You should have walked away, but you stayed. You should have demanded respect, but you told yourself it isn't worth the conflict. Each moment felt small, reasonable, harmless. But over time, those small moments began to accumulate, until one day you looked in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. Every compromise builds a wall between who you are and who you could have been, brick by brick, excuse by excuse, until the strongest version of you is buried behind it. The world does not mourn the person you could have been. No one notices your disappearing. They simply adjust. They adapt to the smaller version of you. And eventually, you do the same. Machiavelli warned about something most people ignore. Conflict does not disappear when you avoid it. It waits. It grows. And every battle you postpone is postponed to someone else's advantage. In nature, there are two states: predator and prey. The predator is calm, focused, intentional. The prey is something else, always scanning, always anxious, always reacting. Look at modern life. Constant notification, constant outrage, constant réaction. People move from one stimulus to another. One headline, one crisis, one distraction, after another. That is not power. That is prey behavior. Predators do not rush. They observe. They wait. They choose their moment. Every movement is deliberate. Every action has purpose. Because wasted energy is weakness. Most people live reactively. They respond. They defend. They adapt. But the dangerous mind does something different. It creates reality. It moves first. And when others react, the game is already decided. Stillness is misunderstood. People think stillness is weakness, but stillness is gravity. The person who does not rush, does not react, does not panic, becomes the center of the room. When you become still, people reveal themselves, their impatience, their fear, their intentions, because movement exposes weakness. And the one who does not move first controls the moment. There is a quality some people carry. You cannot measure it. You cannot fake it. But the moment they enter a room, the atmosphere changes. Voices newer. Postures adjust. And suddenly, everyone becomes careful. This is what I call psychological weight. Some people speak 1,000 words, and nothing moves. Others say one sentence, and the room rearranges itself, because their words carry something behind them. Certainty. Loudness is not power. Aggression is not dominance. Those are signals of instability. Real power is composed, still, controlled, because the man who loses control reveals his weakness. Stillness creates gravity. When you rush, people ignore you. When you react, people control you. But when you pause, when you watch, when you say nothing, others begin to reveal themselves. Psychological weight does not come from intimidation. It comes from alignment. Knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, and knowing exactly where your lines are. Most people have no lines. Push them and they bend. Pressure them and they fold. But the dangerous person is different. There are places inside them that cannot be crossed. There is a truth Machiavelli understood better than most. Power is not only force, it is perception. What people believe about you changes how they behave around you. People rarely test what they believe is dangerous. They test what looks safe, what looks passive, what looks unlikely to push back. Perception creates behavior. Here is the paradox. You do not need to prove power every day. In fact, the more you prove it, the weaker you appear. Real power is suggested, implied, understood without explanation. A snake does not announce its venom. A wolf does not explain its teeth. Their nature is known. And because it is known, most conflicts never begin. Reputation is invisible armor. It travels ahead of you. It enters rooms before you do. And when people believe you are not easy to manipulate, they stop trying. The goal is not intimidation. The goal is clarity. When people understand two things about you, that you see clearly, and that you will not tolerate disrespect, most games end immediately. Most people make a fatal mistake. They reveal themselves too quickly. Their plans, their anger, their limits, their intentions. They put every card on the table. And once that happens, the game is no longer theirs. Machiavelli observed something most people ignore. Power is strongest when it is uncertain, when others cannot measure it, cannot predict it, cannot see where the limit is. Think of the iceberg. What you see is only a fragment. The real mass is hidden, and that hidden weight changes how ships navigate around it. Your power should work the same way. Insecure people display power. They threaten, they brag, they posture, because they need others to believe it. But the dangerous person does something different. He allows uncertainty to do the work. When people cannot read you, they slow down, they become careful, they hesitate. And hesitation is power. Because while they guess your next move, you are already 3 moves ahead. The dangerous mind does not rush to explain itself. It does not reveal every thought. It does not chase being understood, because mystery creates distance, and distance creates respect. There is a moment in a man's life when everything changes. Not when he gains power, not when he gains money, but when he stops seeking approval, because the moment you stop asking, the dynamic shifts. Approval is a leash, invisible, but powerful. The moment you need it, you become controllable. People can guide you, push you, reward you, punish you, and you will follow. Approval is the easiest way to control someone. Offer it, withdraw it, offer it again, and watch how quickly they adjust themselves. Most people never notice the strings, but the dangerous mind does something radical. It stops performing, stops explaining, stops trying to be liked by everyone. Because respect is not born from approval. It is born from boundaries. Ironically, the moment you stop chasing approval, people begin to respect you more. Because you are no longer negotiating your identity. You are simply standing in it. The most powerful shift in human psychology is simple. The moment you are willing to walk alone, you become very difficult to control. Many people misunderstand power. They think it means dominating others, controlling them, outperforming them, winning every contest. But that idea creates endless war. A war you never needed to fight. The truly dangerous person does not fight every battle. Sometimes the strongest move is refusing to play the game at all. Because once you stop participating in pointless struggles, you regain your freedom. Power is not domination. Power is autonomy. The ability to choose your battles, to walk away from chaos, to exist without needing permission. You don't need to control the world. That is impossible. But you can become something far more powerful. A person the world cannot control. A person who cannot be pressured, cannot be manipulated, cannot be owned. The world will test you, push you, challenge you. But once it realizes you cannot be bent, cannot be intimidated, cannot be negotiated out of your identity, the pressure stops. You don't need to conquer the world. You only need to become someone. The world cannot conquer. The world will always test you. Quietly, subtly, relentlessly. It will ask you to shrink, to soften, to bend, to become just manageable enough, just agreeable enough, just harmless enough. And most people accept that deal. They trade their edge for comfort. their voice for approval, their strength for safety, until one day they wake up inside a life they never chose. But a few people realize something different. Danger is not cruelty. Power is not domination. Strength is not aggression. It is simply the refusal to be diminished. The goal was never to rule others, not to intimidate them, not to dominate them. The real goal was always simpler: to become someone who cannot be controlled. Once you reach that point, something strange happens. People treat you differently, not because you demanded it, not because you forced it, but because they can feel it. The quiet certainty inside you. If this idea resonated with you, stay close. There are more lessons about power, about psychology, about mastering the silent games people play. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and do not miss the next lesson.